Okay, I'm here with Liam Giles, who is the first team manager here at Horsham YMCA. This is his first full season at the moment. He took over midway through the second season. Now, we brought Liam into this because we wanted his opinion on what the other leagues were like. He has lots of experience regarding the Kent leagues. Is that correct? So, Liam, tell us a little bit about how you found it different in the Sussex leagues compared to the Kent leagues.
Well, first things first, I think the biggest difference is the physicality and the style of football. So the Kent League is well known for being quite direct. You have big sides, 6'5", 6'4" centre halves, 6'4", 6'5" centre forwards. Yeah, and it's a very direct approach. I feel that in the Kent League or the SCEF, the SCEFL or whatever they call it now, um, you've got you've got a lot of money floating around, an awful lot of money, um, and I do believe some good catchment areas because you've got quite a lot of London-based sides, Croydon, your Fishers, in and around. Not saying they are the money men, but in and around London. So you've got a big catchment area there. So I do genuinely feel that it's a stronger league. Um, Not to say that, I think like last year, for instance, Hassocks for me were what you would call a typical Kent side. Not whether they'd like to hear that, but just in the way they play, front to back as quickly as possible, no nonsense, strong, organised, drilled. So that would be the main differences that I've found since I've been in Sussex compared to Kent.
So you've obviously coached at a higher level than this. We know that. This documentary focuses on Ringmer and Westfield, two teams from the Mid Sussex League, a feeder league into the SEFL, going from step 7 to step 6. What kind of advice could you give to their team or their clubs in making that step up from what we call a real grassroots football to getting into those county leagues?
I think it's really difficult because obviously not seeing them both where they're at, because I think some step 7 sides could easily hold their weight at step 6. I think something that's very important for me is team unity and making sure that you've got a good group. So if they've come up and they've done well this year, hopefully they don't make too many changes and then boys get a chance to replicate what they did at step 7, because, Whiteley, for a prime example, that went from, you know, Phoenix Club from the Ashes, step 8 into step 6, took them a couple of years. Obviously, then they had to transition and they did then change the players, but, they came in and held their own the first year over in Kent. So, I think what's very important is that they don't try and change too much first season. Um, but every team's different. If they've got a load of money, then maybe it's a different argument. But if they are like most of us, in the county leagues, then go with what got them there. Maybe add where they need to add, because you are going to have the extra games midweek. There'll be a busier schedule for them. But to be honest, I don't know I'm new to Sussex, so the Sussex football, so I don't know the difference between county. Would that be county 2 to
Yeah,
county 1? I do know I spent a little bit of time in county 1, and I feel that 1 and the Prem is quite a big difference.
agreed.
I look at the top of, it's like anything though, really. You look at the top 5 in county 1 could hold their own comfortably in the Prem. Whereas, some of the sides I came across lower down in the table, either this year, last season, pre-season, they were non-contests. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they've just got to be true to themselves, I suppose. And if, they got their identity, stick with it, and I suppose every week will be a learning curve for them.
That's fantastic. Now, can we talk a little bit about Horsham YMCA now?
Hmm.
This is now your going to be your first full season. You took over a club that I think everyone knows was being rebuilt. A lot of players were moving here and there. Your job was to come in and steady the ship. Now, What you did at the end of that season, you gave them one of the highest finishes, I believe, in a long, long time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we matched the highest finish in the last 5 years.
Which is ridiculous, really, considering where the club were before you took over.
Mhm.
You've had to come in, give them your own philosophy, as they say. You brought in your own coaching staff, lots of players in and out. How now, as we sit here in pre-season, what are the targets and what are you looking for?
So I'll always be honest. My targets are to win. So first target would be, can we be in the mix? Can we win the league? Now, reality says that on paper we shouldn't be anywhere in the conversation, especially with the likes of Haywards Heath, the money they're throwing around, the signings they're making, Stenning as well. You know, again, fair play. They've got that. They get good crowds, especially Haywards Heath. You know, a very what I think are going to be a very progressive club. You know, I think they should be above this level of football.
Of course, yeah.
For whatever reason, they're not. That's not my business. But I would like to say, you know, on an honest, where I feel we should be this year is we should be challenging for the playoffs. Like I say, my personal ambition will be to try and win it. Otherwise, why am I sitting here? But I think if I didn't be in the conversation for playoffs come April, I would be a bit disappointed. That being said, you know there is the club are putting no pressure on me for that. We are where we are. They're in the middle of trying to buy the ground as we speak now, which you know, fingers crossed, is going to be happening very soon. So they're not in a position to be able to give me the sort of money to rub shoulders with Hayward Heath and Stenning and them sides. Peacehaven, you know, have got the new facility now as well. So I imagine you know they'll be putting a bit in this year. But you know, for me, if I get out of the boys what I got out of them at the end of last year, and we've retained the majority of that group, added what we feel we needed, brought in some extra staff as well. Look, you know, I feel that we should be in and amongst it come the end of the season, playoffs that is.
Fantastic.